Everybody, welcome to Stockradar Stocks on the Move for another week. My name is Richard Lee. I manage the stockradar.com.au website for you. Today's date is the 3rd of August 2023. Okay, still going to sling on for another week. Still there, it'll be there for a couple more weeks yet. So I'm a bit one-handed today, so just be a little bit patient as I'll try and work through all of this. Okay, nearly there but not quite. Okay, the Dow and the ASX 200 are moving towards those highs, but as we've seen the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, we've seen some highs that have come back. It's not going to give it up without a fight. So just stay true to your positions and let the market unfold the way it will. We can't predict, we can't foresee, we just make our play and we let it happen. Okay, so that's okay. The ASX 200 is up in its highs. We have very few stock picks, which is sort of weird, but we've got the banks and the mine are sort of levitating. They've been fairly strong and they're the big heart of the ASX 200, so they're not too bad. CSL's been weighing a bit, but generally some of those stocks have been okay. A couple I'm going to look at later on, a couple of leaders, Macquarie Bank and Wesfarmers are also probably on the nose a little bit there. Anyway, that's the way that is. This week, the mystery of stock price movement revealed. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about that in trading tactics later on to see what we can find out about how we can analyse the stock price movement and make it all very simple for us. Okay, so now let's go to the top 10. Straight to the top 10 trend intensity rankings, and of course AGL is bang on the top. It's been just sailing skyward for a long time. We've got CSA, as you can see there. When we look at a picture like that, we can just see a stock rising in high highs and high lows, and that's what we want to see. So we just let those things unfold without overthinking things too much. Okay. Other stocks there performing well, IAG, JXX, Net Wealth is a new one, Aurora is doing pretty well at the moment, Promedicus, so we've got a bit of a cross-section, and even RIA in there with a couple of ETFs. So it's a bit of a mixed bag for you, but some of those stocks are performing very well indeed. Okay, so now let's get to the markets, the overseas markets. Firstly, we've got the Dow Jones. Here we have the Dow Jones. Okay, well, as you can see now, it's moved through this area here around about 34,400, and it's now moving up towards those highs, looking very strong. We've got some very good volume here, momentum is gathering, so all the signs are good. Okay, all we need to do is get through it now, so we'll just have to be a little bit patient and wait to see what happens, but it's looking pretty good at the moment, so we'll just hold fire there. The S&P is also rising nicely. We've got some great volume here, great momentum. You're always going to have pullbacks. We had another one more last night. Don't worry too much about it. The overall picture is what we want to look at, and that looks good at the moment, no doubt. Good volume, good price rises, the basis of any trend, mate. Okay, and we've got high highs and high lows. So that's the S&P 500. The Nasdaq's a similar picture of strength, not far from the highs again. Very, very good volume here. A little bit of two-way volume here. It's just trying to test this trend, but the trend keeps going higher, which is exactly what we want to see. So these highs are certainly what we want to, well, certainly within the reach of the market at the moment. So that's the Nasdaq, looking pretty good. We go to commodities. Copper, well, it's trying, but just can't seem to break any upside territory here. It's sort of stalled here at the moment. You can see for a few weeks here, not making any progress. It looked okay for a bit, but we've got this moving average downtrend line of lower lows and lower highs pressuring this, making it very difficult to move higher. And this momentum index is falling totally flat at the moment. So we're right at this area here, which is like a focus line, up and trading around it. We've got a flat moving average. We've got no real volume to speak of, and the trend is generally down. So that's copper, nothing there for the moment. Gold, again, it's had another shot. It's not quite getting through yet. It just won't get through, so we're stuck in this area here again. Volume's quite good on the upside, quite good on the downside, quite good on the downside. It's been a bit confusing. Momentum slowly going out of this at the moment as the gains slow down. But 2,000 is still the area. It hasn't broken down really, so it's still a challenge. So that's gold for the moment, okay? And Brent crude's the other one, which is actually making a bit of ground the last couple of weeks. People are getting excited. Okay, fair enough. We won't get too excited just yet. We're starting to move through this downtrend line and this moving average line. We've got a bit of resistance up here at these highs here. So this whole area here, I marked with the ellipse, is really what we want to see through. But the signs are quite good. It's certainly testing the upside. It tested the downside and finally realised it wasn't going to go any lower, so it's now turns around and tests the upside. And we've got some buyers coming in here, which is a good sign. Momentum's dissipating a bit on the downside, so there's maybe a general start to a turn, but early days yet at this stage for Brent crude. Okay, so now we go to our market, the ASX 200. And again, it's been performing pretty well. Let's have a good look at it. You can see here we've got all these peaks up here, the highs up here. We've got some good high lows here. We've moved through this area here. We're now moving up towards here. We've got a couple of long candles here saying the sellers are here and they're going to be back again today. So we're going to pull this back down a bit, and we've got another day to go yet before we finish the week. So I think I would say constructive at the moment. The overseas markets are having a little bit of a dip at the moment, but that's fine. The general trend is up. So for the ASX 200, it's not too bad. And if we look at the stock pick count, it's up 2 this week at 47, so 2 new stock picks in this week. Still the stock picks are 37 to 160, so breadth is pretty weak. I talked about that before. You know, those major stocks, those 15 stocks that take up 50% of the index, have been not going up really, but they've been quite strong. You know, BHP's up near its highs, CBA's up near its highs. So some of those stocks are quite good. ANZ's doing quite well lately. So some of those heavyweights are not as if they're disappearing south, apart from a couple like CSL. Even Macquarie and Wesfarmers are sort of going sideways. So that's them there. And we've got 10 ETFs of 23 running, mainly index ones. And on the portfolio side, not a lot of change in the size, but a bit of a change in the performance, because we've seen quite a good week the last week. The Conservative still has 7 out of 20, and it's 35% equity, 65% cash at 8.8% CAGR. Then we've got our flagship of 4 out of 5 stocks. 16.7 did a bit better this week. Still room for one stock there. The Energizer 10 is 7 out of 10, so we've got room for 3 stocks there. But that's okay. The ones we've got are going well. 12.9% humming along very, very nicely. And the other two Energizers have done quite well this week, both up a little bit. Still up with only 4 stocks out of 5, so we still have room for more yet at this stage. The couple that came in this week didn't qualify for the portfolios, so that's why we still got the 4 out of 5 there. So that's the portfolio update for the moment. Okay, so now we're going to go and have a look at a few stocks. The stock market has been performing very well of late. The last couple of days are certainly going to be a little bit of a challenge for us, but as we're up near the highs, we are expecting a fight on the ASX 200, so that's what we're getting basically. But for the stocks we look at, we stay true to our positions. Goodman Group has been one of the property stocks that has done reasonably well, not without its problems, can I tell you. We had a good break up here back in January this year. It ran on well, like a lot of the property stocks, then came back. A lot of them failed there. Goodman Group managed to hold above its top and it's clawed its way back up to those highs again, and it's challenging. Now we're going to see another interesting day. We'll see where we finish the end of the week, but obviously pressure is going to be there today. Trend intensity as of last week was at +9. The trend was up. It's above the average. Volume is okay. It's probably the negative there, and momentum is sort of flattish. So, but still positive. So this is just hanging on this trend intensity rating for the moment, and it still looks pretty good. And if it does get through this high there, then we're going to see some further price gains on that one. So Goodman Group's certainly not being tossed out just yet, but looking okay. So let's go to that's one leader. The other leader I want to look at is Macquarie Group. And again, we can see this performance here. We're all wondering why Macquarie is doing so badly. Well, I don't know, but all I know it is doing badly. The price tells me that. And that's all I really need to know. But if you look at these two converging lines we've got here, these two horizontal lines, which have contained most of the trading action for about a year now. This is back to July. So we're very, very uncertain on Macquarie. Trend intensity rating is -2. Two-way traffic down here, this is flat, so really the message there is stay away until we get clarity on this one. It can just as easily drop down to S1 before it goes back up there. It may break high, I don't really know. It's such an uncertain thing and such an evenly balanced thing at the moment, you can't really make a call on this one. So that's Macquarie Bank and Goodman Group. Okay, now, excitement factors have been Boral, which we've seen perform pretty well of late. It's still more moving up higher. We've got these high highs and high lows, which is the main game for what we all do. If we're going to start anywhere, start with a filter of high highs and high lows. All the rest of the stuff will come on board if it does. At this stage, what we've got here, it's the high highs and the high lows are intact. It's above the moving average, above the trend line. So we've got a nice trend that started to develop here. It's unfolding nicely up here. We've got some good volume to start this rally. It's got a bit mixed through here, but the main thing is price is still going higher. Okay, momentum is flattish, but well above zero, which means the trend is steadily up. Okay, so Boral for the moment, still trend intensity rating of 10. It's still moving very strongly this week, considering the market's come back a little bit. So that still looks pretty good Boral for us at the moment. Okay, now so that's my trend reversal one I've got there. Now I've got quite a few prospects here in the trend reversal section. I've got quite a few prospects on Stockradar. If you want to have a look at these, there's about 10 different ones ready to create a trend reversal. There's one I'm going to look at today, which is Breville Group. Now this one here, we had a long sour downtrend for Breville. From up around $33, it got right back down to $17, so it pretty well chopped itself in half. But since then, after the downtrend, we've had a beautiful accumulation pattern occurring here. All this stuff here doesn't matter. This selling here, push it down. We still got these lows are still intact, which is really, really important, okay? So now the moving average turns flat and we're rotating around it. And until we really break out of this trading range, we really don't know. We're getting a bit of volume here, which is quite nice in this last uptick. Momentum's starting to click above zero. Maybe it will be this time, I don't know. Trend intensity rating is 0. It's poking its nose above it this week. Whether it stays there, I don't know. But that's what you're looking for on Breville at the moment. The resistance level up there is around about $22, $23. Okay, so for Breville Group, that's one trend reversal there. As I said before, there's a good 10 other stocks at the moment on Stockradar that have got good trend reversal potential, just like this one. So keep an eye on Stockradar for that. Okay, and we saw net wealth come in last week, which is also a trend reversal which came in. Okay, so now I want to go to the new highs. New highs again, we're going to look at Worley again because this one is just creeping higher, which is what we want to see from our big resistance area back here. Okay, we've now got through it. It's just a real steady performer, this one. And if we just go back and get rid of this bit of volume just back there, we can just see that we've got some nice bits of volume pushing through here. It's okay, it was tested here, but the market's held it and come back up. That's what I like to see. I don't mind a bit of selling volume. I don't want to see a market go one way on big volume because you know it's going to come back at some stage. If it goes up a bit, comes back a bit, it's a bit of selling, that's healthy. It means the buyers can buy more and push the price higher. And that's what's happened with Worley. It's doing very, very well indeed. And trend intensity rating is still 10 there. The volume is positive, momentum is positive, it's above the average. So Worley still looks good for a target of up around $21 RT is the next resistance level for that one. Okay, now sticking with the energy side of things, energy stocks are stirring a little bit. We saw Brent crude a little bit before, looking a little bit interesting. Now we're starting to see Worley, which has started to go. Now we're looking at a bit of demand for Woodside Energy. Which finally, it had a big run up here. We go back and see the big resistance level here. This is your big resistance level, up at $34, $35, I think it is, something like that. And we can see here we retreated back here a while ago and we got taken out of our position from here. And now we're back here having another go. We've got some reasonably good volume appearing here on this part here, and the momentum is switching up and it's moving above the average. So things are starting to look pretty good here. Trend intensity rating is +2, so we haven't got the signal yet, but once it goes above this level here, we'll be looking to add this in because the trend intensity rating will trigger a positive rating and an entry for Woodside. So Woodside's looking interesting, and this area here is not an insignificant level. We saw the Worley resistance, which is a big resistance level, and we've got some good potential there. Woodside is very much in the same vein. It's a huge resistance area going back to 2019 here. We've come back to the cycle low, we've clawed our way back up to it again, and now we're having another go. It ain't easy, that's for sure, but we're having another go, and this is not looking too bad. So we haven't made a position yet. We're waiting, and we're waiting. So here's hoping there. Okay, now the other ones I want to look at in the energy sector. Now, surprise, all of a sudden Santos seems to be looking to start making some gains. Now it's you can see fairly clearly that the longer term picture here, the cycle high up around $9, the cycle low around $3. Okay, now we've been clawing our way back up here, high lows, and this was tested. It was so hard, this area here, that now we're seeing that the sellers just sort of giving up a little bit and the buyers are starting to move a bit higher. We can see a bit of volume starting to come through here at the moment. This is starting to turn positive. We're moving above the average. So really, this really is the main area here. This is the story, up around $8.86. That's the highs, I think. So really, that's the area we want to get through. So you can get this picture in the energy sector here. If crude does start to move, we might see some new highs in some of these stocks, which is going to be quite an interesting offering for us. We haven't had Sanders do much for a long time. It's been stuck in this range, for 2021 for a couple of years. Really just been going sideways, just below $8. But finally we might be getting something here, so the signs are good. It's not there yet. Be patient and wait and see if we can get a trigger through here, and we might get some action finally on there. The other one I want to look at on the energy side is Beach Petroleum. Again, it's been in this range since start of 2020, chopping between $2 and $1, but finally we're starting to get a little bit of interest here. Let me just squeeze this down a little bit. Okay, so we get a bit of green bars here, starting to push this price higher, which looks quite good. Now we're still in the trading range yet, so we've got a long way to go. Trend intensity rating is still -3 on Beach, but I'm just looking at things, preparing you for an opportunity in this energy sector which may be coming. And Beach Petroleum, it can move pretty quickly if it wants to, certainly like this. And also down maybe as well, so you've got to be careful of this one. But we've got some green bars here. This is starting to move up towards neutral. We're starting to move above the average, but really this area here up around R1, up around $2 is really the key area we want to see this get through if we're going to move ahead here. So that's Beach Petroleum. It looks interesting. Buys are nibbling. It's exciting times for the crude oil. Who knows what's going to happen, but it looks good. So that's the stocks I got for you today. The energy stocks, a couple of new highs there, a couple of trend reversals there for you, which is our main game. Okay, now I'm going to go through one other little stock for you. This is a little one that's out of my database, which is often like to venture outside every now and then, just have a little look at a few interesting stocks. And Judo Capital's come up. In the newsletter, I now run about 4 different strategy ideas and tables, and these are for things like downtrodden stocks, which we've seen a lot of lately that have come off 50 to 80%. Demergers and new listings often provide an opportunity, and I'm going to go through that in a second. Stocks hitting new highs and lows over the month, and a new high schedule as well. So there are 4 tables in the newsletter I produce now. They're all offering alternative strategy ideas, good common sense strategy ideas, with a common denominator always being the protection of a money management process. Now this stock here, Judo, is out of one of those areas, which is out of the new demerged listing stocks. Often when these stocks list, they have a bit of they move up or they move down. They find an area and uncertainty in the market as to whether the stock or the demerger is a good one or a bad one, depending on what happens. So often they go into a sideways pattern with the sellers capping it and the buyers keen holding the low. So we've got exactly that here with Judo, where we saw the initial trading excitement was quite high. We were trading up around 230, but then disappointment set in and it came right back down to nearly $1. Disappointing indeed. $1.08 is the low there. Since that point there, what we've seen with Judo is we've seen it trade down to the low at 108, trade up to about 150, back down to nearly 18, again, dropped it again, and it's really rotating around this $1.30 area, which is really the perceived value area for Judo. Sellers up here, buyers up here, but rotating around this area. So what we normally do is we let this continue. This can happen forever and a day. We really don't mind. But what we're really looking for, eventually, if it's a good listing, this stock will break higher. Okay, and if it does break through 150, that's an opportunity. So what we're getting at the moment with Judo is we're getting some very good volume pushing it off these lows, which is a really good sign. Momentum is still below 0, but it's getting towards that area, so the downside sting is going out of it. And we're still in this rotation mode between around 130. Trend intensity rating is 0 on Judo, but this is the area up here around 150, which I would be looking at, and I'll be monitoring that in my newsletter each week, because it's not going to go off this week or next week, I wouldn't have thought, but it's maybe something that could be looming for us. So for those looking for a bit of an opportunity in that new banking sector, Judo Bank may well be one worth looking at. Okay, so that's most of the stocks I want to look at for you today. Next I want to go into is my trading tactics and talking about this mystery thing about price movement. And I hyped up a little bit with the first page there, but really, is it a mystery? What we're looking at with price action and price movement. Okay, so. Firstly, let me just explain a little bit about what we're looking at. The price action of a share price follows the same path all the time. It follows the same path. It responds to repetitive human emotions and responses. That's us. So that's what causes the price to move up and down. Okay, so it follows the same path. We behave in a very repetitive way, and so prices behave in a very repetitive way. Not exactly, but similar. Okay, but trends of ups and down, we're just looking at a trend, which is a move up, which is all these little squiggles there, follows the same path as human emotions. Okay, so all this we're looking at here is really trends in prices, it's human emotions, which is all very repetitive, and that's what makes prices move. So is it a mystery? It's not really a mystery, it's just a matter of looking at that and not trying to find the holy grail of what is the answer to whatever. We're just really looking at trends and following human behaviour, which moves in trends. So in the scheme of things, the larger scheme of things, we usually have fear at the bottom, which is paralysis. We can't do anything. Okay, we're so scared about the market going down further. And that follows a period of greed where we get very reckless. We buy anything because the market goes up, and eventually that goes poo-poo, bottom. But that's the underlying repetitive human nature of fear and greed, and we swing between that area. So if we go to the next page here, trading tactics, the price action of a share price follows the same pattern of fear and greed. Scared, greed. Greedy is going to go higher, scared is going to go lower. Okay, this breaks down into waves of, this bad English, this breaks down into waves of one, a downtrend. I've gone through this stock cycle many times. We have a downtrend. We have an accumulation phase, which is a turning phase. We have an uptrend phase, which is a greed phase. And we have a distribution phase, which is again a turning phase. And then we go back to the fearful phase, which is the downtrend phase. So again, greed, recklessness follows fear paralysis. So we go round and round in this circle all the time, and trends develop all the time. And we just capture those trends. And we need to stand back and not, the trend that we're looking at is a trend of a lot of squiggles going up and down. And if we look at all those squiggles going up and down, it will drive us completely nuts. So those filters I tell you about, higher highs, higher lows, above the moving average, those simple things that we use to assess the price. So don't oversmart yourself. Don't get too close to the market. Don't think about every day what is the market going to do. What is the overall trend is what we're looking at. There are very simple ways to assess trends, and you see what I do every week. It's the same pattern I've been doing for probably 20 years, okay, and it's stood me in good stead for a long time. So don't be afraid about these markets. It's not a mystery. The great thing about stepping back and just taking it easy is the relaxed mode you are in the market. You're not always hyper, you're not always anxious. You can just step back and just be relaxed and enjoy the ride and let it happen, okay? So what we need to do is take a step back and actually see what is there. Not every little squiggle. We get caught up in all these emotions, and we're very, very emotive people, and that's natural. Markets aren't. They're just physical things. They just go up and down. So we need to take a step back and see what we're doing. And there you go. The mystery. Well, now you know what it is. It really that's the easy part. That's how it works. That's how markets go. You can put as many indicators under a chart as you like, but it's not going to help you that much. Okay. So ultimately, it's the price movement we're looking at and how we behave. Okay, so that's the mystery revealed. Okay, so the simplest view and the simplest strategy often bring out the simplest and most effective outcome. That's all I can really say about that. It really is like that. Okay, so this is not rocket science. Okay, it doesn't have to be rocket science. It's simple. The stock market is a very common sense place if we let it be. Okay, so that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. We're a really interesting stage of the market. I know we're all very nervous at the moment, but the market keeps going higher, and you know what that means. You should do. Okay, so thanks all for today. Stay safe, watch your trends, heed your stops. Give me a call if you need to have a chat about anything, and I'll see you all next week for some more insights from Stockradar. So thanks very much today.